Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video for you today. I'm going to be setting up my traveler's notebook to work through Equipped by Jesus from Bythewell4God. I have these two traveler's notebooks that coordinate with the kit, so I'm going to use this floral one today and kind of set it up like a junk journal almost. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is take the staples out of this, and I have done this before on my channel. I'll try to link another video down below, but the first thing I'm going to do is just pop the staples out. So I'm opening them up with a little pokey tool here and then just flipping it over and pulling these staples out, and then that will free the paper from the cover. I'm just going to set the inside papers to the side for just a moment, and what I want to do is use some of the fabric that coordinates with the kit just to kind of reinforce the spine a little bit, and also just to add some interest to the cover. And you could use like heat and bond. I've done that before, but I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive here. This is the scrapbook.com version, but you could use score tape or whatever. And so I'm just running this down just right over the spine so that there's some on the front cover and some on the back. And then just pushing this down really well. And then I'm going to use this fabric, and I'm just going to make a little slice, just a little bit wider than the tape that I put down. So I want it to have those kind of raw edges. So I'm just making a little snip in the fabric and then tearing it the rest of the way. And then I'm just kind of lining it up to see where the other end needs to be. And I'm going to do the same thing. It tears really easy this way. So then I'm just going to take the release paper and pull it up and stick my adhesive down. The reason I didn't use a liquid adhesive is because I didn't want it to kind of warp the cover, but also sometimes liquid adhesives can seep through fabric and can stain it and stuff. And so I just went with this double-sided adhesive, and it's really just to reinforce along the spine edge. It's not really even necessary. I've done this plenty of times without reinforcing it, but I had the fabric and thought it would be a nice little addition. So I just trimmed off the excess, and then I'm going to pull at the edges here just a little bit to make that fray even more, and it won't fray past the point where the adhesive is, so I don't have to worry about that. And then from the inside pages, I'm just going to pull out 2 or 3 of the white pages. I'll save this paper for later for something else, but because the paper is really good quality, but I just didn't want it to get too thick. And so what I'm going to be doing is taking some of the pattern paper that coordinates with the kit, and I'm going to be adding pages back in now. So I'm looking for paper in here that I can turn basically and orient the other directions, so that I can fold it in half, and it can be like little half pages inside my book. So I'm just trying to decide which ones I want to use to do that, and I end up choosing the 2 florals and then the blue plaid. So I'm just going to take these and fold them in half here, and then I will add these back into the journal, and then that'll just give me some interest, kind of just going along, kind of creating a junk journal just with some different papers and textures and different things. So I have pulled out some glassine envelopes. I always save these whenever I place an order, and things are wrapped in glassine envelopes. I always save those, and they work great in junk journals like this. So I'm pulling out a couple different ones. These 2 are pretty similar in size, and then just folding those in half, and this one has a sticker on it, so I just need to tear that off, and I ended up tearing the top of it a little bit, but it's okay. When I go to use this, I can always just trim that down, so that's not a problem. But I'm just going to go ahead and fold that in half, and then I can use that for pockets. And I have this big one, which I thought about using, but it ended up just being too big. I would have had to cut too much of it off, so I'm just going to go ahead with the 2 little ones. So for now, I'm just going to alternate kind of adding this paper in and in various places throughout this traveler's notebook. And then I need to add this other glassine envelope in here. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to do that at, I have this blank area here. So just to add some interest, I'm doing that. And for the glassine envelopes especially, I'm making sure that they're kind of either at the top or at the bottom, so that when I go to stitch this, there will be, it will at least hit 2 of the holes. And that will just keep it in there really securely. And then I went ahead and added back one of the extra papers. I just felt like I needed another page in there. So I added that back in, and now I'm just going to add some clips, one to the front and one to the back, just to hold everything secure while I punch the holes and sew this journal together. So I'm going to be using a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I've done this multiple times on my channel. It's a really simple stitch, and it is sturdy, and it will hold it up to everything that I want to do for this devotional. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this. You could certainly measure it if you were so inclined, but I'm just using an awl, and I'm poking through all the way through the cover to the outside. So I poked a hole at the middle, and then I came in about an inch from the top and from the bottom and poked a hole, and then I'm just using that awl to kind of hold everything in place. And I have this thread. This is some linen thread. It's not waxed, but you can get it in a waxed version. I just I don't have any in the color that would really match. So I'm just using this brown, and ordinarily I would start from the inside and go to the outside, but I decided to do it differently this time, and I started from the outside, and I'm going in through this middle hole, and this is going to leave my strings on the outside, and that way I can add things to the strings later on. So going up to the top hole and back out to the outside of the journal, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom hole and back toward the inside, and I'll just take that all out. I'm using a pair of pliers. It just helps me grip this just a little bit easier. And then now I'm going to go back through the middle hole to the outside, being very careful not to split the thread. And then when I come out on this outside, I'm going to try and make sure that the tails are on either side of this long thread. And then you can kind of see here, one's on the left and the right. And then I'm just going to tie a square knot on the outside here, and that will just keep everything really secure. And I'm going to keep my strings long for now. I may trim them later, but for now I'm going to keep them long. I think I may add some beads or something to those strings later on. And then just to add a little bit more interest to the inside of this journal, I am going to go through with some of the pattern papers. This is the one that it looks like bricks, and I'm just going to glue this down. And I'm just going to add a few more of these pages in. This way I don't have the issue of kind of having a blank page to have to work with. I've already got to start. And so I got a little adhesive where I didn't want it, so I'm just taking a glue, it's a gum eraser, and erasing that, just rubbing it along there, and it pulls up that adhesive. So for here, I'm just, where it hung over, I just folded it back on itself, and I can create a little pocket, or I can trim that down later on. It'll just depend on how I feel when I get to that page. And now I'm at this page that is basically the center, and so I want to make sure I have some paper here. I'm using this one that has the shield. This is like the same pattern as what the stencil is, and so I'm just gluing this down, and I'm only putting adhesive on the top and the bottom, which will allow me to decide if I want to make a pocket out of this, and then this part that I'm folding over, I can even glue this down and create a pocket. I can trim it off. I can just glue it down for some extra interest. All kinds of things I can do, but for right now I'm just going to leave it folded. And then I'm going to take another page here. This is the globe. On the back side is this really beautiful plaid, so I'm going to use the plaid side here, and again I'm only gluing down the top and the bottom, again just to leave myself some options. When I come to this page, I can always finish gluing it down if I want to, or I can take advantage of the fact that it's going to be like a pocket. So but on this one I just trimmed off the extra instead of folding it over. And then here I'm going to add in this paper that has the shields on it here. Again, I'm just gluing the top and the bottom down, leaving myself some options. On this one, instead of folding the paper back on itself, I'm just going to go ahead and trim it off. It has a really beautiful pink kind of floral on the back side, you can see here, but I just didn't want that on that particular page. That's not really the look I'm going to go for, so I will save those scraps and I can use them later on other pages. But for now, I'm just going to do a really quick flip through. You can kind of see I have a head start now on some pockets and some journaling and tuck spots. This glassine envelope on this side is sealed, but I will either cut the top or along the side, and then I can add in a tag or journaling card or write a prayer or whatever. This just gives me a way to kind of have some options for how to work through these pages when I get here, and it gives me a little bit of a head start to less decisions that I have to make whenever I start to create. I've already read through the devotional once and taken some notes and everything, so just getting my journal here ready to work through. And that is pretty much all of it. It will get pretty chunky by the time this is done, but fortunately these traveler's notebooks can really they hold up well. So anyway, if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye bye.